This episode is brought to you by HP Plus. In a world full of smart devices, isn't it about time your printer got smart too? Now printing is smart with HP Plus, and the HP Smart app is how it all happens. You can print from your phone with just a tap, no matter where you are, even from your garage/home office/yoga studio. Huh, that is smart. HP Plus. Learn more about smart printing at hp.com/smart.
Don't miss out on the top stories from the best insiders around the NFL. I'm your host, Rhett Lewis, and on the NFL Inside Report podcast, I'll go around the league for in-depth analysis and storytelling with a multitude of exclusive NFL insiders getting unmatched access. Game recaps, the biggest news, and in-depth storytelling that take you beyond the headlines multiple times per week, all on the NFL Inside Report podcast. Listen to NFL Inside Report on the iHeartRadio app, on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
You know the final score. Now listen to the NFL podcast that tells you why it happened. Premiering September 14th.
Do they have a skill or trait that is going to allow them to survive?
Dan Orlovsky, Scott Pioli, and me, Bob Wischusen, are tape heads who watch the tape and give fans the answers.
Regardless of what the hierarchy is, folks need to be servants to the head coach.
Listen to Tape Heads, premiering September 14th on the iHeartRadio app, on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to NFL Total Access, the locker room. I'm Michael Robinson here with Mike Garafolo. Jeezy, what's going down?
Oh, what's going down? The NFL season, the biggest season ever. We've been teasing it as, because we got more games than we've ever had before, with all 17 games for everybody, 18 weeks in total. But it's week one right now, Mike Rob.
Let's
and
get it, man.
Even though we added one more, every week matters, and that's why we're digging into every game week one here on the pod.
This is going to be fun, man. Let's go, man. What do we got? What's the first game up? You got your list, Mike? Let's do it,
Listen,
man.
The first game is the one that we knew was going to be the first game a while back, and it doesn't get much bigger than, I don't know, Tampa Bay, the defending Super Bowl champions, Tom Brady, and the star on the helmet on the other side, okay? The Dallas Cowboys. They call them America's team. You get Dak back. I mean, the storylines are out of control.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
I'll start right there. I mean, okay. I'll take the layup, because to me, the biggest story, I mean, Dak Prescott was on a historic pace last year when he got injured. I mean, 6,000 yards, okay? Not that he was going to keep that up, but, it was clear he was going to have a monster season statistically. The team was coming from behind every week, it seemed like. Then he goes down. So you got the leg to come back from. Then you got the shoulder to be thrown into. The contract stuff resolved itself in the offseason, so you don't have to worry about that. But it's just been an unbelievable, 11 months or whatever it's been for Dak Prescott. Can he hit the ground running? Can he come out and play well and get this team to compete? I mean, Jerry Jones was playing possum a couple of weeks ago. Oh, we're just trying to hang in there against them mighty Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jerry, this team's got a shot to go in and play well, and I think that they're going to.
Yeah, I think they're going to play well. I think they're going to play well too, and possibly win the NFC East. You know what I'm saying? They have the talent. You have Dak Prescott there. I think they made a fatal mistake though, Jeezy, not getting Dak Prescott anytime in the preseason. And I get it. Nobody wants him to get hurt in the preseason, but hell, what if he gets hurt in the first quarter of game one? It's the same thing. You want him as comfortable as possible. When you talked about he was on a record pace, almost 6,000 yards. And last year, we know what he looks like when he's healthy. We know what he looks like when he's in a groove, when he feels good. I'm not so sure when he first walks out on that first snap come Thursday night that he's going to feel good, especially knowing that a big piece of his offensive line is Zach Martin probably won't be playing because of the COVID and all that type of stuff. So, I mean, and then you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady, the GOAT, he played in preseason. So if Tom Brady can play, when I look at this game, I think Dallas missed an opportunity to get Dak ready. And I think they're going to take a big L. And I know we ain't doing picks right now, but we can pick this one, dog. I think Tampa Bay by 30. Okay, yeah.
By 30?
Not by 30. Not by 30.
All right.
But I do think they're going to be.
I think it could be shockingly competitive. On Tampa's side, by the way, for this upcoming season, this to me feels like a team that said, okay, we won the Super Bowl, but we could be so much better. And this is going to be like step on your throat regular season. I mean, I'm looking for 14 15 wins from this team. I really am. I think they're really going to rack them up. I do. This feels like, not that they're going to be this good, but 2007 Patriots, who didn't win the Super Bowl, I get that, but during the regular season, were just stepping on throats during the season. I really expect that from Tampa Bay throughout this season. I think they're going to win a boatload of games in the regular season. All right, let's move on.
All right, let's go.
Eagles, Falcons. I'll drive the bus for now. Eagles, Falcons. I'll tell you what, I'm driving, but I'm going to let you get first crack at this game.
I don't know what to expect from either one of these offenses. I don't know what an Arthur Smith offense looks without Derrick Henry in the backfield. You know what I'm saying? I'm excited about Kyle Pitts. The guy, when he caught that one pass in the flat in the preseason, and the dude looks like the biggest, longest, fastest animal out there, man. Like, I'm just excited to see this dude get the ball in his hands. And for Philly, Jeezy, early in the offseason, because I called you about it. I said some things about Nick Sirianni. I don't know. He may be a yes man. I don't know. Maybe that's why he got the job and all of those things. And boy, did the Philly fans, the Philly players, and everybody jump down my you-know-what. I mean, they got in my... Lane Johnson even hit me up like, bruh, you might be wrong on this one.
Well, Mike Rob, I'll say, and this is what I'm looking at specifically. I mean, we can talk about the Eagles' big picture, but for week one, what I'm looking at from them is how are they going to come out of the gate? Because there's two ways to approach a team in the regular season, in the preseason and training camp. You can push them too hard. Matt Patricia did that a couple years with the Lions. I remember hearing that the players were saying, we're out of gas because they've really been killing us during training camp. Okay? To me, this is the opposite in Philly. He has gone so light on these guys to the point where I heard players saying that when the Patriots came to town for joint practices, it was like the longest practice by far that they had. I mean, and then they didn't play in the preseason. Can they hit the ground running? I got a lot of questions about that from Nick Sirianni and this coaching staff with regard to how they handled the preseason. So let's see. I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles are off to a slow start this season.
A lot of soft tissue injuries sounds like it's coming for them if they don't have too hard of a training camp. Next game, Jeezy, Pitt Buffalo.
Oh.
You know my Buffalo Bills are a part of this, man. I get excited when you talk about Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, look, all right. Everybody knows I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. I love Buffalo. Please, I want to go up there and jump through a table. That'll happen. Pittsburgh, though. I do think Matt Canada is going to be the X factor for this team this year. More Ben Roethlisberger under center. Play action, you get more of a pull, more of a sell when you have the quarterback under center. Less shotgun. I want to see Ben Roethlisberger move, though. Like, in the past years, he looked big, man, and he looked like he couldn't get out of trouble and do the things that we're accustomed to seeing. Geez, I'm not sure he can still do that.
Well, it's funny you mention that because a lot of people think that that's going to have to be an element of this offense, right? Because if you're going to do a little bit of those zone read things or whatever, but there's different ways to do it. The threat doesn't necessarily have to be, is the quarterback going to pull the ball and run with it? It could be, can he pull the ball and throw it quickly?
That's called RPO. That's called
right,
RPO.
The RPO. So, and so that's more of the threat that's going to keep the defense maybe on their heels, or they hope, right? That's part of it. And the other thing with Matt Canada that I keep hearing is, because I say, well, he's got these concepts, right? But they've been, how many people have been running these concepts? And they said, well, it's different to watch it on film or talk to coaches that have done it and try to implement it versus it's actually in your blood. It's actually in your DNA. So they feel like Matt Canada is going to be able to translate these things to the NFL level better than some other folks have done. But quickly, you give us your thought on your Buffalo Bills this year, because it's been like a roller coaster, right? The slow ascension. And I'm not saying they're going to fall off. I'm just saying it's been a slow, steady climb, and now it's about taking the next step.
Yeah, they have to take the next step. That's winning. That's getting over Kansas City. I mean, let's just be honest about it. If they can get over Kansas City, they will have taken the next step. And for my man Josh Allen personally, the next step is winning the MVP. And he gonna win it this year, Jeezy. He's gonna win it this year. Yeah, I don't mind saying it. I was right a couple years ago with Patrick Mahomes. I ended up changing it up last year, and I ended up getting it right with Aaron Rodgers. So I'm just saying, Jeezy, MVP Josh Allen, man. What's up with the next game?
The next game is, listen, this is in a lot of ways, maybe a nothing game for a lot of people, but the NFL has done this before. They put a guy against his former team in week 1. They did it with the Jets and Darrelle Revis when they traded to the Buccaneers. Now they're doing it with the Jets and the Panthers with Sam Darnold. I really want to start on the Jets on this one, though, because I think Zach Wilson might actually play some smooth football this year. I thought it was going to be a little bit of a learning curve for him, but what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing, he's really, from the beginning of training camp, when he missed a couple of days through no fault of his own and his agents by taking their time, wasn't an injury or anything, he really looks smoother and way more confident later in training camp. And they feel like he's catching on a lot quicker than a lot of folks thought that he would. Because remember, he had a lot of clean pockets in college. Okay, they didn't have a lot of traffic around us. What they did in training camp was to try to create a lot of traffic around us. So they didn't do much of the 7-on-7 drills, which is pass rush. They wanted to do as much team drills as possible. Now, he didn't get hit. He's got the red jersey. But they wanted to create that feeling of guys around him. And they think that helped with his development and getting more comfortable.
Jeezy, I think the reason why this kid is so comfortable, first of all, he's smart. You know what I mean? And second of all, he's a very easy thrower of the football. But when I say that, just when you watch him, it's like, oh, it doesn't matter. I can just throw it any angle, any whatever. And it's not like he's thinking. I compare it to a Cam Newton. Every time Cam Newton threw the ball, it looked like he was thinking, all right, let me throw it now. As opposed to, the easy throw of the football, just boom, 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 just let the ball out. You know what I'm saying? To me, that's why it seems like this guy's got a good grasp of this offense. But you're right. The NFL schedulers did a great job in scheduling this. They did it with Darrelle Revis. They're doing it with Sam Darnold. They also did it with real Mike Robb, right? In 2010, I got released from San Francisco. First week of the season, you know what I'm saying? I'll get with the Seattle Seahawks. First week of the season, we played the San Francisco 49ers. And dude, it was weird as hell. Like weird. I'm looking at Patrick Willis, and we're looking at each other. We're about to go block. I'm about to go block him. He didn't even know how to take me on. He went to the ground a little bit. It was awesome. I want to see if Sam Darnold can respond because I do think the kid has a little talent. All right, Minnesota, Cincinnati, Kirk Cousins versus Joe Burrow. What do you got, big dog?
I want to talk Cincy defense. This is great. We can go whichever way we want. So I'm going Cincy defense. This is a talented defense, okay? And they've done a lot in free agency the last couple of years to start to bring together a defense for coordinator Lou Anarumo to start doing things. I think this is the key to their team. I think they really could be better defensively this year, and that could help Burrow, right? Because he's coming off that ACL. He may take a little bit longer to get comfortable. We maybe spent too much time worrying about that in the preseason. But I think Cincy's defense could be the untold story of that team this year.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Zimmer wants to get that defense fixed. To me, that means less Kirk Cousins and more Dalvin Cook. Get the blocking unit straight, block the guys up front, run the football, play tough-nosed defense. And I think the Vikings may have a shot, just a small shot, in the NFC North. What's up with the next game? Who you got? I can't even see it.
San Francisco, Detroit. I got my contacts in. I don't have my contacts. I don't need them. We got San Francisco, Detroit, and I think it would probably be malpractice if we didn't talk about Niners quarterbacks, Mike Robb.
Yeah, and I think it's malpractice if Kyle Shanahan uses Trey Lance like my guy with the Saints.
Taysom Hill?
You can't use him like Taysom Hill. He's not a freaking H-back. He's not a tight end. He's not a fullback. That's not what he does by nature. So really, you're not fooling anybody when you bring him in the game. You see what I'm saying? You bring two quarterbacks in the game, you're really just playing 10 against 11. Jimmy ain't going to give you nothing on the outside. And Trey Lance is going to do something with running the football or throwing it. So there's no surprise there. I just hope that they don't do that. When they say a package, I hope they totally take Jimmy Garoppolo out of the game and let Trey Lance come in and do his thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they can do that, that'll be fine. With Detroit, quick on Detroit.
Pain.
Pain. Bite off some kneecaps, bite off some ankles, and I want to see Jared Goff throw the hell out of that ball. That's all I want to see. I think he does have the talent.
I was going for more a Clubber Lang prediction. Pain. I think it could be a long year for Detroit. But you know what? Yeah. It wasn't about a one-year rebuild there. It's a long-term rebuild. But back to San Francisco. I think Trey Lance comes in, Jimmy's off the field, and Trey's got a chance to really make a statement to be the starter, which I think he will be by the time the season's over. It's interesting to me because my belief about their mindset out there is we are so good from a roster standpoint that if we don't suffer injuries like we did last year, it really doesn't matter who the quarterback is because we're going to win the games. So if that's the case, why not get the kid out there and play him? Which to me, I'd almost think I would go the opposite, which is we're so good, put the veteran out there.
Yeah.
And as long as he stays healthy, we got a better shot of winning games because he's not going to make as many mistakes. But that when I mentioned that first thinking is why I think it's Trey Lance sooner rather than later for San Francisco. Jacksonville, Houston, okay. I don't think we got playoff teams in this game. No. I really don't. I will say this. I think Houston, this notion that Houston's going to be the worst team in the league, I think is misguided, okay? They're not going to be great. They're not making the playoffs.
No.
But I think that they're actually better than people think. They're probably going to win, I don't know, 6-7 games would be the capper on me, but it's not a 3-win team to me. This team is better. They have talent. Tyrod's not going to lose you games.
Jeezy, Tyrod's not going to lose the game. This is going to be a hard out for anybody. I've been on sorry-ass teams before, and when you're on a sorry-ass team, it frees you up. There's no pressure. You can just go out there, you commit a penalty, so what? We stink. You go out there, you block, you just do your thing, and I think that's going to add something to these players where they can go out there and just play. And so I agree with you. I think they'll be a tough out for anybody. In Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, just keep smiling, bro. Just get up and keep smiling. I think you'll be fine when it's all said and done.
2 things real quick for Jacksonville. Trevor, I liked in the preseason how the ball came out quick. Okay. Mm-hmm. They also designed things to make it easier for him. I think that's going to have to be the story of the season. You can't do it all the time, obviously, because defenses make it tougher on you, especially in the regular season when they're throwing things at you you're not expecting. But the more you can do that, the better. And 2, how hard are they going to play for Urban? I'm really curious. They might come out and play hard for him, or they might not. Let's see how he can adjust to the NFL player mentality.
This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football is back. And the best bet you can make is downloading the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It doesn't matter if you're new to gambling or an old pro, FanDuel has something for everyone. And as an official sports betting partner of the NFL, you know your bets are safe. There's also never been a better time to use FanDuel, because right now, you'll get up to $1,000 back if your first bet doesn't win. You can even turn a small wager into a big payday with a same-game parlay bet. Just sign up with the promo code Spotify to place your first bet risk-free on FanDuel Sportsbook. Download FanDuel today. 21 plus and present in Virginia. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Don't miss out on the top stories from the best insiders around the NFL. I'm your host, Rhett Lewis, and on the NFL Inside Report podcast, I'll go around the league so you can hear much more of the story. The NFL Inside Report podcast will offer thorough, in-depth analysis and storytelling with a multitude of exclusive NFL insiders getting unmatched access. NFL Inside Report will provide you with comprehensive coverage, including game recaps, the biggest news, and in-depth reports that take you beyond the headlines multiple times per week, all on the NFL Inside Report podcast. Our exclusive NFL insiders will get the opportunity to share the full, extensive story so you can stop wondering what's really going on. You'll know what's happening behind the scenes in the NFL. Listen to NFL Inside Report on the iHeartRadio app, on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey everybody, I'm Aditi Kinkhabwala.
And I'm Mike Yam, and we are the hosts of NFL Explained. It's the podcast where football fanatics come to learn everything they always wanted to know about football,
but didn't know who to ask.
Well, they can ask us now. And of course, we're going through all of these topics, Aditi. And I know you and I are so excited to start disseminating nothing but football nugs.
Well, and Mike, I've got questions of my own. Like, do you know why the Packers are named the Packers?
I do know that it has nothing to do with Pac-Man, and it has everything to do with cheese packing.
Not cheese, with meat. Meat packing. It was a meat packing company that put $500 up for the uniforms.
Or how about this? How about like what constitutes an actual catch in football, which I would imagine all my years of covering college football is a different answer now covering the NFL.
And unfortunately, Mike, I don't think that we will possibly have enough time to figure that one out.
But the point is, you're going to be able to join us every Thursday to talk about every interesting detail about the game we love. It's NFL Explained.
Listen on the iHeartRadio app, on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Moving on to your Seahawks. Dwayne Brown will be out there at the left tackle position. They solved his contract situation by sweetening it in the short term without giving him an extension. And this is after Jamal Adams. This is why we don't overreact in May when we say, hey, these guys aren't on the field. Because guess what? It's not September. And you got plenty of time to solve that stuff. The Seahawks did. Indianapolis on the other end of this game. We'll see about Carson Wentz and his availability. I love Carson, man. I do. You know
he
that.
gives us a lot to talk about. He gives us a lot to talk about all the time.
Wait, is he praying to the right God? Like I don't
not go there.
Let's not go there, Jeezy. I can't believe I asked you that question. He's a religious guy. He's got to know the story of Job, right? Mm-hmm. He is Job. He's being put through the ringer. You go, okay? My daughter told me she's got to go to the bathroom. Just so everybody knows, taking a potty break. All right. So Carson, hang in there because I think at the end of this is something that was well worth it for you, I guess.
Well, I mean, is Carson not what we thought he was? I mean, he's been hurt a lot in his career. I'm not saying that
guy's still there.
He is
somewhere.
He led the league in turnovers last year. He also led the league in getting sacked last year. He also led the league in too many people screaming at the TV saying, throw the football, Carson. I don't know, man. If he plays.
Have we ever seen a guy be up here, fall to as low as you could possibly fall, and then come back? Like, I don't know that because it's health. It's confident. It's a little bit of everything with him.
It is a little bit of everything.
So for him to come back from all that, it would be a great story. I love the guy.
He got to get out of his own head, man. That's all. Okay. Arizona, Tennessee. I love the Cardinals. I do like the Cardinals. Like their defense. Love that middle linebacker, Zaven Collins. That's the biggest matchup, one-on-one this week. I think Zaven Collins against Derrick Henry. Those guys meeting in the middle of the briar patch. I think that's going to be fun for all my physical fullbacks and linebackers out there. But Tennessee, man, like I've been very intrigued by this team because there's a lot of shiny toys on the outside, and I just hope that Todd Downing, who's the new offensive coordinator, I hope he doesn't just say, hey, you know what? Ryan Tannehill can win the MVP. Let's just throw this ball every single play. I'm not sure Ryan Tannehill's that guy. To me, this team is still built around Derrick Henry. That's how you help your defense. That goes along with the personality of your head coach. And I'm not so sure Ryan Tannehill can beat you with his arm consistently. I'm just saying.
Back to Arizona, because I want to hit this real quick.
Yeah.
This is a put up or shut up year for a lot of folks, a lot of key folks.
Kingsbury,
Steve Keim, the general manager, and the quarterback, Kyler Murray. The baseball stuff popped up again this offseason, right? And the notion that he's kind of like got one. And he didn't dismiss it, by the way. He kind of said, I'll always love baseball. And you start to get hit as a player in the NFL and you go, why am I doing this? Right?
Especially when you ain't got the body to really handle it all the way. Because I want to see, he took a hit in Seattle last year and it totally changed this season for the Arizona Cardinals. Totally changed it. He was shy to run. He didn't want to run through contact. His arm seemed a little bit affected by it. I got to see Kyler come back from hits like that. I just haven't seen it in his short career, man.
He does not love getting hit, and these things have a way of building up, especially when you've got another fully guaranteed alternative just kind of hanging out there. I'm not saying he's going to go back and play baseball. I'm just saying this is a big year for all the key components in Arizona, and I can't wait to see which way. Because guess what? It could go the other way, too. It's a boomer bust season for them. I really believe that. Go ahead, Mike.
Chargers, Washington football team. This is a really interesting matchup for me because I love what the Chargers do with the young quarterback. I like Joey Bosa defensively, but it just seems like the Chargers, they always play teams hard, but then at the end of the season, they just seem average. Right? I think this year may be the year that they get over the hump. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, as long as he doesn't throw the game away, this defense will keep this team in games.
I could say to you that's unfair to Brandon Staley because he's a new coach, but what you just talked about with the Chargers and the injury karma seems to span.
It doesn't matter who the coach is.
Seems to span coaching staff. I don't mean to laugh about it because I like this Chargers team. I thought they were going to be better last year. If you remember, it was early in the season, And I said, watch out. Everybody's sleeping on the Chargers. You watch out for the Chargers. And people laughed at me. And that was the weekend they almost beat the Chiefs, okay?
Yep.
And that was the Tyrod Taylor lung game. And I remember one guy tweeting late in the games like, I'm never doubting Mike Garafolo ever again. And, of course, even though the quarterback played out of his mind, they still weren't good. They still couldn't put it all together. We'll see. I know Brandon Staley's off to a good start there as far as his mentality and his ability to set the tone and an atmosphere. They're happy about that. Washington, I covered them plenty last year. You know, I'm unsettled with something. I picked another team to win the NFC East, and we're going to get to them eventually here.
Yeah.
I picked another team to win the NFC East, and I don't know why I didn't pick Washington, right? Because the defense seemed to only get better. I mean, William Jackson on the back end, Landon Collins is coming back. Defensive line is still killer. Fitzpatrick comes in.
You don't trust Ryan Fitzpatrick.
That's it, right?
That's what it is. I just text a future Hall of Famer running back a couple hours ago. There's a reason Ryan Fitzpatrick has been on damn near half of the NFL teams. If he was a franchise guy, he wouldn't have been on all of those teams. You know what I'm saying? I think he has a tendency to throw the game away at times. You know what I mean? He's going to win some, but I think he's going to lose a little bit more than he wins with Washington. All right, next game. Cleveland, Kansas City. This is a big one, Jeezy. This is a big one. Cleveland can put the rest of the AFC and the NFL on notice with a win opening week.
Yeah, and I was just talking to a friend of mine about this for his fantasy purposes. I said, I really do believe that Baker Mayfield is crossing the 4,000-yard mark for the first time in his career. I think they're going to open things up a little bit more. And I told him, I said, go back and look at the numbers. The first 9 games, he was averaging under 200 yards per game. The last 7, and then into the postseason, he was at like 250. And I think he and Kevin Stefanski really hit a groove down the stretch. I think they throw the football a little bit more this year, especially because he's trying to make that case for the contract. So I wouldn't be surprised if Baker has a career year, by far.
Defensively, though, in Cleveland, I think Myles Garrett is a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. He was one last year. I think he's going to make some noise this year, especially with Jadeveon Clowney being on the other side of him. But how do they deal with Travis Kelce? I mean, people talk about Tyreek Hill and stuff but to me, Travis Kelce is the key to this Kansas City offense. Maybe the rookie, JOK. I don't want to mess up his name. So, Jeezy, you're the one that does all pronunciations and all that.
Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
Yes. I can't wait to see that matchup because I'm pretty sure he's going to follow Travis Kelce around sometime.
I think you got to cover him with a DB. You just got to cover him with DB, but you can try to be physical with him off the line as much as possible. Not with the DB. Get somebody to kind of hit him.
JK is kind of a DB. He's a positionless guy. He can play linebacker, safety. I mean, he's kind of that guy. I think he's going to be with the future of what defenders look like.
Yeah, and Kansas City, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I want to talk about him. Probably going to do it on Good Morning Football weekend. So tune in this weekend, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go. Plug. All right. Miami, New England. This is a AFC East division matchup. I still don't know what I'm getting out of Tua. People can say what they want to. I like everything else about Miami. I just don't know. I haven't seen enough of Tua to know what I'm getting out of him. And it's going to pain me to say this. The New England Patriots are better with a rookie quarterback than they were with Cam Newton. And this is no disrespect to Cam. I just think that his skill set fits with the Patriots coaching staff and what they want to do offensively. They're built to run the football, and I think defensively New England is going to be a lot better.
Yeah. I hate reading into the preseason because it always feels like it's going to be misleading, but I do believe that what I saw from New England was a Bill Belichick team in the preseason, a team that played smart, a team that used good technique, a team that certainly is more talented because of what they did this offseason. So, are the Patriots back? Can you say it that? They're not back to what they were at their peak, but they're back on the plus side of 500. There's no question in my mind, and they are a force to be reckoned with in the AFC East. Miami, I am not as optimistic on. And I know that I keep telling the people in Philly this because they're holding their first-round pick. I said, I got a feeling that first-round pick you're getting from Miami might wind up being more valuable than your own first-round pick. So keep an eye on that one. Green Bay, New Orleans. People are picking Green Bay in this game. A lot of people.
Yeah.
Because Jameis Winston and being displaced right now by Hurricane Ida. I just got the feeling, though, that the last time this team was displaced by a hurricane, they came out and played with a lot of emotion.
It was a
Hurricane Katrina. Yeah. And it didn't last because they were not a good team, and it was Jim Haslett in his last year as head coach. But that emotion that they were able to ratchet up for week one when they played in Carolina, expected to lose by a touchdown that game, and it wound up winning. I got the same kind of vibes right now with the New Orleans Saints. So watch out, Green Bay is all I'm going to say on that one.
Aaron Rodgers versus Jameis Winston. Oh, man, headlining this matchup. Look, I think Jameis is going to be better than what we think. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be lights out. I think he can't wait to show everybody, look, man, I did my own thing this offseason. This is my last year, and I'm going to ball out. Next game, Jeezy, what do we got? Denver and I ain't going to say you're a New York Giants. You're more of a Philly guy. Denver, New York Giants. Teddy Bridgewater and Danny Dimes. To me, the New York Giants season falls on Daniel Jones. If I don't see some type of jump or some type of way he takes care of the football, complete the passes that are there to be completed, don't hold on to the ball that long, I think the Giants can be the most complete team in the NFC East.
This is the team I picked. I alluded to it earlier. I said the team that I picked in the NFC East. I think you did too. We were on the segment together. You actually stole my thunder when you did it ahead of me and made it look like I was just riding your coattails when I was ready to do it. I see a team that finished 5-3 last year, and I know that they played against backup quarterbacks and teams that didn't make the playoffs. They also had a nice win in Seattle, though, that I can't get out of my head. It just feels like a team that is learning how to win under Joe Judge. They did get better from a talent standpoint. How they're going to keep these pass rushers at bay, I mean, look, it's not going to be like the preseason where a lot of times you want guys in one-on-one matchups because you want to see what they can do. Let's see you win your one-on-one in the preseason. Okay, now it's the regular season. Now we got to win the game. So let's scheme it, okay? Let's figure out a way to give you help. Let's slide. Let's chip. I'm fascinated to see how they do it going into this game because they're going to have to do it. It's not going to be pretty all the times.
Nope.
They're going to have moments where, oh, God, Andrew Thomas just lost his one-on-one with Von Miller or Bradley Chubb or whoever it is. But you just try to get by as best you can and come out at the end of the day and have a little bit of a confidence builder. I'll go Giants in this game, even though we're not making picks.
Two things I want people to be on the lookout for in this game. Saquon Barkley's return. I think just talking to him and knowing guys around him, he feels healthy and strong. And then when you look in Denver, that rookie running back Javonte Williams, I love Melvin Gordon. He's gonna take his job by the end, after 4 weeks. So look at for your fantasy team. Those running backs will be straight. Next game, Jeezy, what do we got?
Chicago and the Rams. This is Sunday Night Football, right?
Sunday Night Football. Do we see Justin Fields this early, Jeezy? Huh? Come on, man. Feed the beast, man. Do we see
Here's
him?
Here's why I say no. Matt Nagy is so pot committed to this at this point to Andy Dalton as his guy that he wouldn't do it in week one. Now, week two, that's possible. But it's not a question to me. Like San Francisco, let's find our opening to get Trey Lance in and playing quarterback. Chicago, let's see how long we can go without Justin. Like it's the complete opposite approach. It really, truly is. So let's see how long they can go. I mean, Andy Dalton may give them that opening in week one, week two, whatever. I think it's Andy Dalton the entire way, even if they play poorly. But if they do and they get beat, I mean, it's going to be talked about all week, and then he's on watch going into week two because this coaching staff and general manager do not have much time to play with.
Yeah, for me, and I've said it before, Justin Fields would have to play himself out of the starting role if I was Matt Nagy, but I'm going to flip this thing to the Rams side. I know they lost some pieces on defense. Some of their safeties left, important pieces of that defense. But they still have Aaron Donald, the most dominant player in the National Football League, and Jalen Ramsey. I think defensively, they'll be fine. You add Matt Stafford to this offense. You add Matt Stafford to Sean McVay's creativity. You add Matt Stafford to what I think Sean McVay really wants to go 4 and 5 wideouts and throw the ball every single play. I think that's what he wants to do. Not so sure it's going to work. But I think that's what he wants to do, and I think they air it out, man.
I disagree. See,
I think Matthew Stafford throws for 6,000 yards this year.
I was just in my head formulating I was formulating in my head like an over/under number for you and me to be like, where? So what's like if I said 4,700 yards, right? Like 5,000 is a little high. 47. I'm trying to split like 4,500.
He will be over that. Think about it, Jeezy. Earlier when Sean McVay got there, they were throwing the ball deep. That's when everybody thought Jared Goff was an elite guy. It's just now it's decisions that Jared Goff was making. There was the fact that he just wouldn't pull the trigger. Now he has a quarterback that's going to pull the trigger, just like he would.
Tom Self, our producer, thankfully, is coming to my rescue before I embarrass myself on an over-under, reminding me that we've got an extra game this year.
Yes.
So, Dopey, don't forget to factor that in when you set your number. So I don't know what's that worth? Another $250. So we're at 5,000. We just went to 5,000. Look, here's my point. You know, everybody says, "Oh, Matt Stafford, look at all the numbers he's put up over his career. He's gonna put up the best numbers he ever has." And my thing is, I don't think so, because on those teams he had to. He never had a running game. He never had a defense that he could really rely on. Well, I mean, at times he had, but the point is, this is the best team he's ever played on. So this is going to be freeing. Hey, you don't have to be the guy the whole way. So we'll see how that meshes with the philosophy. One more game. We don't have a Monday night doubleheader this year, right? When did that happen? Did I not pay attention to that?
Yeah, I think you missed it, Jeezy. You're supposed to report that, man. Come on, dude. All right, Baltimore, Las Vegas. We'll be quick on this one. I think some people in Las Vegas, they doing some bad stuff up there, man. When we gonna start looking at John Gruden? I like John Gruden, but when we gonna start looking at John Gruden and saying, "Hey, man, maybe your philosophy ain't there"? You know what I mean? And from a Baltimore standpoint, everybody's talking about new receivers and Lamar having to push the ball down the football field. Lamar has to get better passing the football. Period. You've been hearing me say that, Jeezy, for the last couple of years. Until he can consistently put the ball outside the numbers and down the field consistently, until he can consistently throw that deep out across the field with accuracy and some arm strength, teams are gonna know what he's doing. And he's not, there's just going to be a limit to what, the Baltimore Ravens and offensively that they can do to you.
There were defenses last year who said, let's crowd the hash, right, with our safeties and force them to go to the spaces that we're leaving open. And at times he proved that he couldn't do it. So let's see. I mean, they think some of these downfield targets are going to help him with that. I've got questions. This is a team that could take a step back this year, in my mind. I really, truly believe that. And I know that they're trying to evolve on offense. Sometimes that can backfire on you, so we'll see. And as far as the Raiders go, I mean, it's just incredible what this contract has done for John Gruden. It's to the point now where I'm looking to Gruden. I'm not looking to somebody to fire him. I'm looking to Gruden to say, I've had enough of this. This has not gone the way I wanted to. I know I'm giving up, $10 million a year, but I could make most of that, if not all of that, back in the broadcast booth.
Yes, you can.
I'm out of here. Like, that's I'm not reporting anything, please. Don't take that. I'm just, to me, that's the out. That's the who's going to fire John Gruden? Himself. And we'll see.
All right, geez, let's change the tone a little bit and get to remembering, somebody in our family, our NFL media family, Tara Deeker. I used to always say Deeker really loud when she walked into the room. Our NFL media family, we got hit hard over the weekend, man. We lost our dear colleague and friend, Tara Deeker. I can't say enough glowing things about her. Every room that she walked into, she brightened it up. I mean, there were times where I fly across the country to go to the studio in Los Angeles, and sometimes you're tired, you don't want to be there. She would always smile and have a joke for me, man, just to brighten up my spirits. That's who she was. Jeezy, I know you have some memories of her too. But yeah, we were hit hard, man.
I mean, it sounds cliche to say like she never had a bad day. She was always in a great mood. It's the truth. It's just, she was unbelievable. She was, Andrew Siciliano made a joke about how he would tell her, I'm taller than you, and that was their joke back and forth because she was, but she was like this tiny stick of dynamite, right? Mm-hmm. Like, players play bigger than they are, right? Like she was maybe the shortest person in the room, but the biggest personality, the most energetic and bubbling, and she was fantastic. And she was in charge of swag, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you see this helmet back here?
I see it.
when we set this up, one of my, I won't say who, but he's a source, right? One of my best sources. He said, can I get me one of those helmets? And so I hit Deke and I said, hey, really good source. In fact, he gave me a scoop today. Can we get him this helmet here, right? And so she misunderstood what I said. She starts to say, she says, all right, give me the address to send the helmet. And I gave her this guy's address. And she goes, oh, I thought you were saying you needed another one for your shelf. I said, no, I need to send it. She goes, all right, we don't usually do this, but for you, I'm going to do it. And but she had that way about everybody. I don't know that I was special, right? I think it was just, that's the way. She always made you feel like you were the most important person. And it was just amazing the way she did that. And she'll be missed because the world needs more of that, Mike Brown.
More of that in a huge way, man. That'll do it for this week's show, Jeezy. Great job, man. We went through all the games, gave a big shout out to Deeker, our girl. I know she's watching down on us and seeing all the great things we're doing for her. But that'll do it for this week's episode of Total Access to Locker Room. For more insight with the Locker Room point of view, check out the latest episodes every Wednesday and Friday on Apple and Spotify.
Don't miss out on the top stories from the best insiders around the NFL. I'm your host, Rhett Lewis, and on the NFL Inside Report podcast, I'll go around the league for in-depth analysis and storytelling with a multitude of exclusive NFL insiders getting unmatched access. Game recaps, the biggest news, and in-depth storytelling that take you beyond the headlines multiple times per week, all on the NFL Inside Report podcast. Listen to NFL Inside Report on the iHeartRadio app, on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Mike Yam.
And I'm Aditi Kinkhabwala. We love football so much, we figured let's start a podcast and call it NFL Explained, where we just answer all the crazy questions we get about football all the time.
There are a ton of those questions, Aditi. We can go through team names, like how the Buffalo Bills got their name, or who even came up with the Sky Camp, because that is actually a really cool idea.
Answers to questions like that and more every Thursday. Come join us for the NFL Explained podcast.
You can find it on the iHeartRadio app or on Apple Podcasts, basically wherever you find your podcasts.
You know the final score. Now listen to the NFL podcast that tells you why it happened.
Do they have a skill or trait that is going to allow them to survive?
Dan Orlovsky, Scott Pioli, and me, Bob Wischusen. We're tape heads, going inside the coaching tape and giving fans the answers.
Regardless of what the hierarchy is, folks need to be servants to the head coach.
Listen to Tape Heads on the iHeartRadio app, on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.